What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to the live stream. Hope you guys like that intro music. We are opening up right here, right now. Just make sure I got this all set. Boom, boom. Yeah, that looks good. What's going on, guys? Make sure you read. First off, my name's Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. If you're new, welcome. Thanks for hopping on. Make sure you read this disclaimer right here. I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. If you trade, you will probably lose money. Make your own trading decisions. Nothing you see or hear from me is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. I'm just an idiot on YouTube yapping for entertainment purposes only. Again, in the description of this video, on the site, let's go ahead and check this market out, man. I've got an MNQ chart loaded up. I am starting this week off with a fresh, raw chart. Deleted everything. There are no lines, no markings. I'm going to go ahead and mark it up with you guys right here, right now, as we let the market open up. I'm just taking a peek at this. I'll show you guys what Bookmap is looking like because it looks kind of crazy right now. I'm actually going to open up an ES chart just to double check that ES looks like this as well. So bear with me. ESH5. Go ahead and subscribe to that as well. So here is the NQ Bookmap chart. This is not typically what it looks like. We got a massive stack of orders down here, but we have really, really low liquidity right around price. There's usually like these algorithmic liquidity band providers. I don't really know what they are, but essentially is big stacks of orders that kind of track price above and below it. I typically don't pay attention to it, but this is what it looks like right before news. Like they flip the switch off on these bad boys, and we just have real liquidity that's kind of sitting up above and below price. But usually there's some nice stacks, kind of mounds, even distance above and below. We don't see any of that. It was looking real dark and ominous this morning. So I'm cautious right around this open. Obviously, we know what we had over the weekend. A lot of tariffs, a lot of different things coming out from the U.S. administration. A lot of volatility, right? Let me go ahead and reset this. A lot of volatility at the open for trading on Sunday night. Big gap to the downside, right? Big sell-off. Market not liking the tariffs that are being imposed. I think there's the belief is there's risk of a trade war, right? Some big stuff going on with China and Canada. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my chart up as I let this open up. I'm not going to get involved right here, right now. I'm going to let this do its thing for a little bit like I usually do. I don't have a setup right here, right now anyway. Maybe a sweep up above these and then a crack below if we were going to look bearish on the day. But I'm going to go ahead and get my chart marked up with you guys here. If you have questions, you can feel free to ask in the chat. You can go ahead and subscribe if you didn't subscribe ahead of time so you can chat next time. I keep subscriber mode on. Try to limit the trolls that we get so many of here on YouTube. So I'm going to mark off prior day high and prior day low from the daily chart. Again, you guys are going to get my full markup this morning. It's pretty dang simple. There's not a whole lot that goes on. 3 tools on the chart: VWAP, volume, and volume, right? Really not even indicators so much as they are just volume tools. But first, taking a look here from this higher time frame perspective, looking at where we are. We had a very similar move yesterday. Last week, right? Monday, gap down, big sell-off, support found, and then a push to the upside. This, again, I'm not the big fundamental guy, but I like to pay attention. If there's a huge movement, maybe there's usually a driver behind it. This was believed to be due to the DeepSeek AI model coming out of China, and that looking real bad for the US-based tech stocks, specifically NVIDIA and chip makers. Big sell-off, but we found support down here. Again, regardless of that, just looking at price, we found support down here, pushed back up, put in consecutive bullish days, pretty big push up, and then we know what happened on Friday, big turn and sell-off. Now at the open of this week's trading, big gap to the downside. Again, political uncertainty, tariffs getting put out, a whole bunch of stuff going on from the U.S. government, and fears of trade war. That's the big word that I keep reading on headlines. So big gap to the downside. Didn't continue, right? We're not selling off right at the open. We're actually pulling back up. But that's kind of what we're looking like from a daily perspective, right? If we zoom really, really far out, we know stocks go up, U.S. indices go up over time. We're not looking like we're in a massive recession or correction, at least right here, right now. But we're not blasting above all-time highs, right? We're not just continuing this, move to the upside. We're forming this structure, kind of downtrend. This was breaking to the upside, looked really good, like we wanted to head towards it. Last Monday, kind of put a cap on that for the time being. Looked like we were going to head right for it again, and then straight back down. So very, very big movements back and forth here for MNQ is the chart that I'm on. Jumping into a little bit lower time frame. This way we can just mark out some potential discretionary zones. Yeah, market's popping here. I'll tell you my thesis coming up in a minute here. Going to go ahead and mark some discretionary levels, and then we'll zoom in a little bit further, and I will mark maybe like overnight high and low. And we'll get some opening ranges, that fun stuff marked off. But here's what I'll be looking at below price. Major levels really zoomed out on the 1 hour, right? Really where we bottomed today, this level that's been tested multiple times. Decent area of volume traded here. You can see it all the way back here, right? Nice tops and bottoms put in. The level that we're at right now, I'd say, is a level. I don't know that I want to mark right where we're sitting for with price right now. I'm not going to. Maybe I'll mark some lower time frame stuff. Above price till we get all the way back up below prior day low and start filling that gap. I'm not going to put another zone, right? I think we come through all of this like we are doing right now to the upside. And maybe just completely retrace. But this line right here, this prior day low, is a really nice zone, really nice level. So I'm going to be paying attention around that level. 21.525s, 21.500s, right below it. Above that, I'm not going to mark too much else right now. I don't see a whole lot that I want to mark above price on higher time frames. I don't expect us to come back up here. If we do, I'd want some levels, some zones up here, but I'm not too concerned with it. Let's go ahead and drop down to the 15, closer to our trading time frame. Take a look and say, hey, are there levels on this chart that we want to mark off? We want to be aware of if we come above and below. I'm going to go ahead, like I talked about, and mark off what I call overnight high and low. That would be my overnight high. At least for, I guess technically it's going to be this bad boy over here. Yeah, I'm going to mark that. Open to that candle. Going to mark off this low right here. Yeah, so looking at this on the 15-minute, right? What happened as we're, okay, let me just kind of zoom back out. Now we got our chart marked up. I'm going to leave it like this for now. I don't want a whole bunch of more levels on my chart today. I don't want a ton coming off of these lows. I think you could argue like that this would be the next zone if I was going to draw one off these tops and bottoms where volume starts to pick up in between this wide open price action. I'm not really going to look to do anything right there. If I was looking at anything, I'm looking for a push farther up. We come below. I could definitely see this area right here, but it's too close to this major level coming off of higher time frames and overnight low down here. So I don't want anything else on the chart for right now. Again, zoom back out, start to frame some thesis here. This is getting choppy, guys, right? So how I was interpreting this is the 1 hour zoomed out. We had some downtrend structure forming here, right? We know way zoomed out we were going up. We had some clean downtrend structure forming here, at least for how I would describe this, right? Lower highs getting put in, lower lows getting put in, right? We started to break that right here to the upside. This was looking like a nice run up coming towards the end of last month. That failed really aggressively on that news out of China or whatever the reason that it failed, right? Price turned to the downside really aggressively. Came all the way back down, came back down to test these lows, broke below this level here that we tested multiple times. But we didn't just sell off. We immediately found buyers and pushed back up to the upside. Now, we failed to get above this high, and we failed to come back down below this low. Now, we've erased the move from last week, almost the entire move, back to the upside, and bottomed again, at least for right here, right now, this morning. We're starting to push back off. This is pretty indecisive. This is some pretty gnarly back and forth price action, right? And if I zoom like that, what direction is that chart going, right? I'm cherry picking it, right? Because I'm only showing this side, but, and maybe I'll move it up so you guys can see it. What direction is this chart going, right? Do we have a really strong, clear uptrend? No. Do we have a really strong, clear downtrend? No. I'd argue that we're looking sideways from a higher time frame right here, right now, right? If I zoom out like this, what direction is this chart going? Nice and smooth to the upside, right? Nice 45-degree angle going to the top right hand of the screen. This is starting to get choppy, starting to get really big, really big back and forth price action. Again, this is the 1 hour zoomed out. So we got a ton of trends in between here for each day. But just higher time frame perspective, when we zoom out, are we ripping to the upside day over day? Are we selling off day over day? Are we back and forth in between each day and week? So as we start to zoom in from here, right here, right now, we don't want to move lower, at least for right here, right now. Big gap down, bottom put in, did not come below this first low off the open. Attempted it, kind of choppy. London session picked up to the upside. We have held above VWAP for right here, right now. We are cracking above this overnight high level, kind of sweeping above this high. I had a real strong bullish thesis that helped me out all the way until Friday of last week, right? Really nicely held on way too long here, and that was a nightmare. But this was a nice, strong, clear uptrend that I was looking for a buy on a dip every day. Got it some days, didn't get it some days. Today, do I have a massive bias one way or the other? No, I don't. At this open, I think a little bit different than what we had here, which was kind of a knee-jerk reaction. We were at risk of really starting to sell off. I don't want to try to pick the top here of today's price action, but there's certainly a play setting up to the downside right now. You could say massive move to the downside. We're hammering against these zones down here. I think we're going to break and run and have a huge down day. Tariffs are in. All of this uncertainty is causing, chaos in the markets. I think we're headed down. Sells are the move. This is, again, potential thought. You could be looking for a sell right now. We swept above overnight high. We tapped into this area. Buyers can't take it higher. There's absolutely a trade right here. I'm not going to be first in 15 minutes, but there's your setup idea number one. You could run it really wide and look to the downside. That's absolutely a potential. But that would be kind of idea number one, to the downside. Idea number two would be you're looking long on this, right? You say, hey, look, we're looking strong. I'm anticipating something similar. This is a crazy sell-off and then immediate just kind of rally back up. And your thesis is long on this, kind of holding with the higher time frame view that U.S. stocks are moving up. A little bit less in what I'm looking at right here, right now. But you're looking to, for this thing to sell back, maybe retest VWAP, get down below some of the structure from the overnight session from London, find some buyers, and then continue to the upside. Maybe you're looking for this gap to close, right? We know gaps do like to get filled. That could be thesis number two, right? A potential bullish push to the upside. Option three, we're just choppy and consolidating. We're cautious against this wild volatility. We're kind of just going to wait to see what happens here. That's where I'm at for the time being. Right here, right now, gun to my head, I'm short on this. This is big gap down, big. I don't know that this is going to fill. I think we have potential for a really large, gnarly move to the downside. Market may need to chill out, right? We kind of already made a decision to move lower, and now we're just kind of chopping. Everything's looking red, pointing to the downside. So I'm looking for sells, but I don't want to be the first in on this first 15 minutes. I'm cautious of more volatility. We do have some news. 10 a.m. Red folder. I really don't want to get involved before that. I think that can just be even more of a catalyst to a crazy movement. So I'm not the guy to get involved on Sunday night and first thing in the morning for most NYSE sessions, but definitely not first thing in the morning on a Monday after a big, huge gap down, wild uncertainty coming from the fundamental side, and news at 10 a.m. I don't see the need to take that risk on. I'm going to watch to see how this plays out and make a decision from there. Right now, again, sell could be setting up. That's a wick above, and selling pressure. This is totally fine for a sell for me from up here. I would be happy entering this trade and say, I followed my my approach. Could enter stupid aggressively right up here. I'm not pulling that today again because we have news in about 11 minutes from now. Red folder, high impact news. It's not crazy. It's ISM manufacturing PMI, but that is something to be cautious of. Bookmap looking the way it's looking, also screaming for a little bit of caution. And outside of that, this looks like a move to the downside. 162. Yeah, we got a lot of liquidity right down here. I see us going to fill that and potentially continuing lower. But I'm going to keep myself out for the time being. That's my markup. That's my analysis right here, right now. Appreciate you guys hopping on. Hit like, hit subscribe. We got a bunch of people on here. What's up? Welcome if you're new. Appreciate you jumping on. Feel free, hit the like button. Feel free to join the free Discord if you're not coming from Discord. I don't know what you're doing. We're live here every morning. We're running 100% free Discord, 1,400 active members. And yeah, going to try to navigate these wild markets. Good morning. What's up, Brian? What's up? What's up? Good morning. Confessions of a Futures Trader, Lone Wolf, Andre Thomas, Stuart. What's up? What's up? What's up, guys? January monthly candle looks like a doji. Indecision at the top. Sort of thing currently. Yeah, absolutely. This is again, you can kind of see that from this zoomed out picture, right? What are we doing here? This is kind of choppy, right? Kind of not super clear direction. Not as clear as direction as something like that if I cherry picked a part of the chart to show you. So again, if you guys jumped on late, just kind of framed out my reasons for waiting. 10 minutes to red folder news, high impact news. It's not as crazy of an event. It's not an NFP or an FOMC rate. But I'm going to wait to get past that since we're already 10 minutes away. And we will look to trade from there. Yeah, this to me, gun to my head, looks like a short. You'd have a really, really good entry up here. If we are going to come higher, I think you're dead wrong. I think I'd be dead wrong. We're going to come up above this level right here. I'm tempted to try it. Honestly, I wish we didn't have the news because I'd be in already. I'm not going to jump in 9 minutes before red folder news, but I'm going to state this here. This would be the setup. Sweep above, really even just a hair earlier. Sweep above, and then coming back down to this area, looking for this move to the downside to continue. Probably run a pretty wide stop loss, like 150 point stop loss, just wide above these highs. Maybe allow for a little bit more of a retest. I think if we just do this, we are, I'm dead wrong, and we're just going to continue higher and come and fill this gap. But I think this can be a gnarly move to the downside, and getting in way up here at this level could present a really, really, really big opportunity. If I was going to look long on this, I'm not long here. I'm long after a sweep of the lows and then, something to pull back up. But that's kind of my 2 cents. About 8 minutes to this news, so I'm going to wait. Again, yeah, kind of two entry models on NQ and US indices. Framing the bias from higher time frames, marking out market structure and price action, and then either looking to enter really aggressively at the zone type of a deal, not waiting for confirmation, you might say, for the move in one direction, or looking to wait for some more confirmation and then enter as we're coming back down, stop loss above the level of structure for a continuation to the downside. Just kind of two different styles of entry. Usually I'm somewhere in between both of them, like stupid aggressive, selling as prices just pushing up into a level and waiting for a complete move in the opposite direction, usually somewhere in between. But I love to just warm up on backtesting over the weekend. And what proves to just work so well on NQ is framing a bias, framing kind of, are we moving up? Are we moving down? Are we just chopping? Waiting for a sweep above or below a high, price to hit a zone, a level, an area of interest, and jump in the direction of that trade with a nice wide stop loss as that happens. Nice positive risk reward. It can literally be as stupidly simple as that. You can trade directly from area of interest to area of interest as long as you structure risk and maybe you add in a little bit higher time frame perspective, a little bit more zoomed out of what's been going on, to avoid trading completely counter trend. So that was my reminder for this week. Along with that, structure risk, accept your losses. Don't hang on to a bias too long. Don't take the bad losses. Not necessary. Coming down to test these lows from London, right? Coming down to test these kind of choppy session lows after holding above VWAP. Again, this looks like a sweep above high that we might get really early and then a sell-off. Really gnarly rejection here, at least on the 5 and 15 minute. Again, I like this short. I liked this short as we started to come back down here to the middle of this zone, looking for a push through VWAP and a potential continuation lower. I'm waiting for news. Red folder news at 10 a.m. about 5 minutes 30 seconds from right now. Wait to see here. Yeah, how can I tell where liquidity is? The liquidity that I talk about is not above highs or lows. When I talk about it sweeping above a level of structure, I don't know that there's liquidity there. I talk about this a lot on social media, and I've been pissing off all the ICT guys. So no, I have no beef with those guys, but I'm going to talk about liquidity the way that I see it. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about when I say liquidity. Liquidity as in a higher quantity of orders resting on the book at a specific price level for a specific time on a specific instrument relative to everything else that day. That's what I'm talking about as a level of liquidity, right? Technically, this is all liquidity. Liquidity is everywhere, right? There's buy and sell orders. There's transactions taking place all over the place. I mean, technically, it's not everywhere, right? If we zoom out, we might say, okay, at this price level right up here, there's not a single order to buy or sell. We also don't see everything from this chart, right? Also, these orders can be BS. They cannot be real. Spoofing, dark pools, all that stuff is real. But this is what I talk about when I'm talking about liquidity right here. At 21,161, which on my chart is not a super duper clear level, there's 200 orders to buy, a boatload, right? 21, what do we say? It is a clear level, excuse me. No, not really, because it's not even down around below lows. It's right at the lows. Lot of buy orders right here. As we come down into that, I would expect some volatility and some decisions to be made. Either these buyers are going to hold, step in, because we got some right above it as well. It's 67. These buy orders are going to act as support. We start to find some support right around VWAP and pop back up. Or maybe they fill. They really act like fuel to the fire. We start to see more orders come on the book. Sellers really overtake the buyers that are down here, and we push through that level. That is what I'm talking about, using order flow for viewing liquidity. Again, up here, right? Unless I was watching something on Bookmap, which I wasn't. I don't know, what filled up here. I can have, can make an assumption that above and below highs and lows there are stop orders, right? Which is not going to be shown on Bookmap, and though that liquidity is going to fill, it's fine to assume that. But I think the liquidity conversation gets really sideways. Not to say that word too many times. It gets kind of sideways and misinterpreted, and what we're actually talking about just turns into a mess. So, but yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Big levels on Bookmap that is available to everybody. That is directly from the CME, right? Centralized data. All this information is coming from one place. That's available to everybody. It's the same on a regular DOM as it is on Bookmap. You'll watch those orders, and whatever happens there, the same that I will. That's the beauty of trading futures, because we have that information, right? Didn't have that in from US Forex brokers. Had no volume, no true volume data from a centralized, exchange. It's cool that we can see that. Whether that's helpful or useful, totally up to the individual. You might say Bookmap is useless and it hurts me more than it helps me, and I don't need that to make money. I'd say that is totally cool, man. You do your thing. Plenty of traders that do not use any form of order flow that do really well. Plenty of traders that do use it that do really well. Totally up to the individual. You want to check out Bookmap, link below to check it out for a heavy discount. Coming up on Red Folder News, 1 minute, 30 seconds. "30 seconds to Red Folder News." Let's see what we get from this one. Again, appreciate you guys hopping on. Feel free, hit like, hit subscribe. If you can't chat this time, you can subscribe so you can chat tomorrow. I'm here live every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Trading straight from whatever terminal I'm trading from. This is a TopstepX funded account on TopstepX. Don't claim to be the best trader in the world, to know it all, to have all the answers. But I'll be live with you guys talking about the way that I trade, showing you what works for me. You'll watch what works and what doesn't work. Wins, losses, break-evens, everything in between. Hopefully you find that valuable. That helps you in your trading journey. Initial move to the downside. Let's see if we just break right through this. I got a feeling we will. I got a feeling that I'm going to miss this gnarly move to the downside from up here. I'm not going to enter like I talked about. Red Folder News, making the conscious decision, avoiding the risk of having increased volatility before we actually make a decision, taking on the risk of missing an opportunity to the downside, right? Again, I've been working from higher time frames, right? I'm not looking at the 1 minute here. I'm looking at the 5 minute, 15. I'm structuring my trades with a wider stop loss, wider take profit. In general, for me, looking to capitalize on larger movements and try to avoid getting caught in the noise to the best of my abilities. So no break to the downside on that candle. Looks like we're going to come back up to that middle ground. Swapping between the 5 minute, 15 minute. Yeah, man, this looks dicey to the downside. Can absolutely retrace and just go and fill this gap. And I think if we come up above this high again, that's where I would start leaning. But this looks like a move to the downside first. Yeah, orders down below. I'd be surprised if we didn't go fill this and head down to 25. What I call liquidity, right? Talking about Bookmap at 61, still there. I think we go and tag that. Now we have multiple levels of liquidity down below. That looks like we want to go and tag buy orders here. All the way down to the 25s, 20-ish. Yeah, I think we're going to see a move lower here. Yeah, all the way down to the 120s. Here we go. Again, 2 minutes after news. Do I want to sell this breakout to the downside? No, not right here, right now. I don't want to be selling off VWAP. Let's see. There we go. Through some levels there. More coming on the book. do some measuring here, guys. Yeah, I'd get short on a pullback here. That's what I'm looking at. Big levels of liquidity down below. I think those could act like magnets. Down even further below that, 100 level, we got orders. Down below that, if I zoom way out, the 21,000 level, got another 100 down there. There's really not much above. If I'm wrong, I think we are headed higher on the day, and I will, just readjust and look for a second trade. I think they'll just be completely a move to the upside. If we start to come back above this high, can we literally just, I don't know that we're going to get much of a pullback. Can we literally just, continue to expand? Sure. That can be a frustrating day. But I'm going to look at selling this breakout to the downside here for a move through VWAP. I'd like a pullback up here. That would be so nice, but I don't think that we're going to get it. And I don't know that I want to wait for it. Again, looking short, following this sell-off from overnight, looking at this continuing to be a red day rather than a pullback up and a complete erasing of it. Yeah, I might start this with low risk. I might start this with like really 150 just to get above the highs. It's kind of tough. That's kind of tough. Okay, let's see what happens here. Ooh. Order's getting pulled. Let me show you guys this. Here's an example of things moving around on Bookmap. Just before price moved away, here's what I was looking at. Big stacks of orders. Let me go back even further. Big stacks of orders down below price that we may want to come and fill. As soon as we started to move away, those got pulled off the book. What does that mean? Could it be spoofing? Could they not be? That stayed on. Could it not be real orders? When I see that, I get a little bit more cautious of using that in my trading decision. That means things are going to get moved around quickly, and I want to be cautious of really structuring a trade to say, hey, I think we're going to move down through these levels of liquidity if they start getting pulled off the book. Now we got some above price. Up here at the 50s. Still think lower, but I didn't like that at all. Yeah, well, I don't want to talk myself out of a trade here. I'd like to get in short on this. I'm looking at this as absorbed news. We're coming through to the downside. Opening range, IB low is going to be put in second. It's most likely for that to break in 20 minutes. And if we do break, that we extend to the downside. Let's come all the way right back up and start pushing this high. But this isn't a beautiful risk structure. I got to be really wide just above this high. I don't really want to have a stop loss anywhere in between here. somewhat volatile. Yeah, there's a short setup here. That's what I'm getting at. And I may miss it waiting for more of a pullback up to the middle ground of this area of consolidation as we start to test the low. Yeah, that might be it. That might be it. Look at what NQ is showing for VWAP, just so I can get a little bit better idea. See, VWAP's in a different spot. A lot of volume traded. NQ chart is showing us testing VWAP and bouncing off it right now. MNQ, we're showing similar. Showing similar, not too far off. A little bit more zoomed in on the 5 minute as I get ready for an entry, just to get a little bit more zoomed in view. Again, guys, this would be higher time frame looking to the downside, right? Sweep above highs of overnight, breaking down below lows, testing VWAP, pulling back up, looking for a continuation lower, stop loss wide above this high. If we do come above this high, I think I'm wrong. I want to be out. And then I think we potentially continue higher, closing this gap. We're going to erase some of this move. Yeah, I think I'm going to be taking this as a breakout. I'm going to be waiting one way or the other. This is going to be the more conservative style of entry, right? Like I was talking about, you can look to enter short right up here super aggressively as we crack above the zone for a continuation lower. You can look to enter as we start to actually turn from that zone. I'm going to be looking at this, looking to enter. Yeah, it's a pretty gnarly reaction again. I'm getting short on this, guys. I'm going to get short 2 MNQ. Pretty decent amount of risk for today just on 2 MNQ. I'm going to go wide right above this this level of structure up here. The high put in at 930. If we have to expand both sides and come back up, we find support here at VWAP, come all the way back up to sweep this high. I'm dead wrong. Do we have to pull a move maybe where we crack this high and then come all the way back down? Potentially. Potentially. That'd be pretty tough to deal with. But this is looking weak. This is looking very weak. We're testing this low multiple times. We're testing VWAP. It doesn't look like we want to bounce super aggressively here. And again, basing on higher time frame structure, I think there is room to come back down at least into this area near the 21,000s and potentially lower. And if we break lower, this is a very, very, very big potential to the downside. Very big. I don't know that comes today. So that's the risk that I'm going to put on. Again, I'm in 1 XFA. This is pretty heavy risk, I guess most would consider. I'm not a high frequency of trades, right? This would probably be the only trade for the day that I would give myself with this type of risk. Otherwise, I'd have to cut it in half. Yeah, I might have to. This is fairly heavy. Just looking on Bookmap at what we're looking at here. was 100. Yeah, guys, I'm going to cut that back in half. I'm going to cut this in half. Being that far, being that heavy on just one trade, I started to talk myself into saying this would be one trade. I want to give myself a second one. I like this trade. Like this to the downside. That's just a hair too heavy to allow myself 2 trades. If I left that on and accept the full stop out, that's definitely the one and only. I want to be able to be wrong on this if I am, and potentially look for a move back up to the upside into the afternoon. So I'm gonna leave this on. That's my game plan. I joined bid 1, got out of that. I'm short 1 MNQ. This is a fairly wide stop loss, right? 600 some odd ticks, 642 ticks. Do I really need to be above that level? Yeah, I'm going to go like tight on it, right? Like if we come all the way back up, I'm not even going to have room to test it. That's going to be my game plan. We just get taken out. And this is one, obviously now I can't scale in, can't scale out. I would just let this thing move, continue lower, and potentially hold on to this 1 micro for a larger move to the downside. But that's my game plan. You know, again, I'm comfortable with 600 some odd dollars worth of risk, but if I do that, that's really going to be my entire risk for the day. And I would like to leave myself, excuse me, a second trade. You know, potentially be wrong. You know, realize less than $300 worth of risk. Put a second trade on for $300 worth of risk, and potentially have that one be, you know, the $600,000 winner, catch a really big move. So that's my game plan. That's my game plan. Quick adjustment on risk management. You know, you can do that. If you find yourself in a trade, you know, you start to structure it, you go, wait a minute, I measured out, but that's like a little bit wider than I thought. Just kind of how I did right there. And I go, well, I don't know that I want to have $650 worth of risk on. That might be a little bit heavy for what I'm comfortable with. Might not allow me the flexibility to take a follow-up trade if I need to take one. You know, you can adjust quickly. So that's where I'm at. Short 1 MNQ now. After ducking out of 1 because a little bit heavy risk. Short from 21,173 flat. Stop at 21,318.75 above highs of the session. We have to come back above that high. I don't think we're sweeping above that high and then coming lower. I think we're probably going to move higher or just have a really choppy day. Short on the break down below. Overnight session lows. Oh, excuse me, not overnight session lows. London lows. Breaking, retesting, trending lower. This was an ideal entry, but started to hesitate, started to wait, watching. Bookmap, not so bad to be down here, a few points lower. So that's gonna be the trade, guys. Again, one micro, $300 worth of risk. I think this has room to run. I think this has room to move. I'm not going to get crazy with it. I don't think a stop loss anywhere in here, at least for me, makes sense. Maybe you say I entered on the breakdown here below VWAP, stop loss right above here. I'm okay with this coming back, and doing whatever it has to do in here, and then potentially continuing. I think that would be fine market structure. Clear invalidation point is above this high. I don't think that it would need to come up above here. That wouldn't be normal price action, wouldn't be what we see more often than not. Can it happen? Absolutely. Sure can. Can clear everybody out up here and then continue lower. But that's what I'm looking at already happened, right? Pulled up above these highs and then continued lower. So we'll see. This looks pretty good so far. Pretty gnarly reaction to the downside. Holding through VWAP on the 5 and the 15 minute. Closing below. A couple levels that I'm looking at are going to be, we came down into that 25, 22-ish area. This 100 level. Big round psychological number where we have big stack of orders. Interested to see what happens if and when we get down here. You can see kind of how that was traded earlier in the morning. But here we go to approach it. There's about 80 on the book right at this level. So we got some liquidity there. Then down below at the 50 and at the 100. Nice even stacks of 100 orders. That's what I'm looking at to the downside on liquidity. Big round psychological numbers, right? No big surprise here. Just going to mark these with some rays. But you guys know what I'm looking at on Bookmap. We got some above. 200s. We got like 60 and then 250 we got some. So orders getting stacked at nice big round psychological numbers. I'm interested to see what happens here first. Interested to see if we start to find some buyers and we pull back, or if we slice through this level and we really start to melt to the downside. But appreciate you guys hopping on. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Ryan, good morning. 70 next target. Yeah, man. Don't know when that was from, but yeah. I wouldn't consider this a bounce yet. Some room to the downside. Yeah, if you guys got trading questions, feel free, ask in the chat. Happy to chat with you. Trolls and dumbass questions, I'll just delete and block you. But subscriber mode helps with some of that. When that's not on, it's just it's really the depths of hell. But you guys are awesome. Appreciate you being on here. Feel free, hit like, hit subscribe. I'm on here every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, trading NYSE Open. Real trading, showing you live executions in funded accounts with money on the line. At least simulated money that can be withdrawn for real money, right? If we're going to be clear about it. Hop in the free Discord. 1,400 members in the free Discord. Let me throw that in there. Be more than happy to have you guys. And you trade with prop firms, you use any paid software, you want to check out Bookmap, you want to check out Edgeful, any of the other tools that I use, feel free, check them out in the description. Links down below. You could use code RDF at majority of prop firms and get yourself a nice discount. Links are down below for that. I'm going to be checking out Tradeify coming up pretty soon. Be checking out their straight to funded stuff. Link down below for my code. They just dropped new pricing on the 1st of February. So it'll be pretty sweet. Trade those live with you guys here. But for right now, we're here in one of my XFAs. Pushing lower on NQ. MNQ, seeing if we can't get through these 100s. It's a pretty big psychological number. And down towards the 21,000 level. Really interesting. I would love to see this thing just knife. I'd love to be on the right side of some volatility. We can definitely see volatility in either direction, right, guys? I cautioned quite a bit last night and this morning. These are headline markets, right? Here we go. Big crack back up. Headline markets, right as I'm starting to say it. At any point, Trump or someone from the U.S. government can say something, maybe like right now, like I just started to say it, and we see wild volatility. Big moves to the upside and downside. News comes out, and we watch it just print into price. Wow, it's going to be funny if right when I said that, we see like a huge move back up to the upside. Yeah, headline markets. So what can you do? Structure your risk. Make sure you have a stop loss in. Make sure you fully accept that number that's on that stop loss and maybe some more if you get slipped. Because at any point, somebody tweets something, somebody imposes a tariff, something happens, a geopolitical country, anything, we could see wild movements in volatility, like what we're seeing right now. Like right before I started to say that. Immediate 400-point jump, 400 tick jump, 102 points, right, out of that candle. That's pretty volatile. That's the movement that we have to deal with right now. So 1022, not a news event, no, nothing crazy, But that's a lot of volume to the upside. That's pretty gnarly. That looks like something from the outside. Yeah, crack right back up. Let's see what volume looks like on that. Yeah, a lot of volume. A lot of volume behind that move. That doesn't look good. But, like we talked about, trade's on, risk is structured, end accepted, happy, did everything that I was supposed to do today if I end red $291 or $291 less that amount. Sweep down below VWAP, really, really harsh rejection. We come up above this high. This looks like a break above and a continuation to the upside. I would look to be long after this. I'd look for these levels to hold, for this not to want to continue lower, and a potential push to the upside. Don't know that I would jump. I'm not going to jump in right where my stop loss is long. I'd be waiting for some more structure, but this would absolutely look like a move to the upside. Not going to touch this one. Not going to manage it. Stop loss is where it needs to be, but that looks like a gnarly reaction back up to the upside. A lot of volume behind it. Bookmap level still on down below, but quite a bit of volume to the upside. Buyers are stepping in, bringing that thing higher very, very quickly. Very quickly. There we go. Stop filled. And here's the push to the upside. I'm going to have to clip this one right before I started saying it. Headline markets, a lot of volatility can come into the market at any time. You know, got to be cautious, got to structure your risk. And as soon as I said it, immediate 215-point move to the upside. That's the type of market we're in, guys. That's the type of market. So L number 1 for the day. Stop filled. Let's see where we go from here. That's looking like buyers, a breakout trade to the upside to try to hang on to it and capitalize on some of that momentum. Could be the play. I don't know where you structure risk on this. I don't think anywhere above this level would make much sense. That does not give you a good way to structure risk, taking on 1,000-point stop loss. I got nothing on this. I got nothing. So I'm going to hang tight. Yeah, big volume coming in on that. If you're, really heavy volume-based trader, gnarly reaction, you jump in quickly on something like that. Stop down below, like a big 1-minute candle with volume behind it, and you're able to capitalize on some movement right there. But that's some gnarly price action to deal with. That's really gnarly. So again, I'm gonna stay patient on this now. Like I said, if price did come back up above this level, I could see a potential move to the upside. We come back down and sweep below this level before we do that. I don't know that I'm trying it short again, but happy that I cut that risk in half initially and gave myself a second trade here, right? And I'm not out for $640. But that's gnarly. That's gnarly, guys. That's the market we're in right now. Headline markets. I'm going to have to go back and clip that right before I started saying it. Price jumps, man. So we'll hang out. We'll see what we get from here. Do we fall right back off? Are buyers going to rip this thing higher today? That's what it would indicate, unless this is just a crazy reaction to something and then a move lower. Take a look at... on my second screen. Yeah, it's happening across indices. Big push to the upside on all of them. Yeah, welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to Headline Markets. This is going to be fun. This is going to be really fun. It's going to be a fun year. I can tell already. Yeah, Mag 7's still all red except for Meta, which is like 1/3% green. Everything else is red, down near 1% or lower. All the indices still red, obviously, but pushing to the upside. Price is gonna hunt stops the people who are shorting. Then it'll fall below 21,000. Maybe. That's what I'm currently thinking. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely possible, right? If we're gonna have a huge move in a certain direction, typically there's a big move in another direction. In the other direction first, right? We may expand for a while, just really take everything out, and then see a really, really big direction. We may see a massive move to the upside right from here. Anything's possible. Anything's possible in this market. Section 1 rules didn't clock the trade out early. Cool. Everybody, $my. Stick to your rules. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Fake out Monday for you. Yeah, I mean, that could be a fake out like multiple times, right? So like here's your fake out to the upside, popping at the open. You could be getting long up here. That looks really good. Stop loss, somewhere down here. You're taking out. You look to get short like I did after a push up and then a move lower coming through VWAP. And we got a crack to the upside. So now where do we go from here? Gun to my head, this looks long. This looks like we find some structure to the upside and continue. I don't have a trade on this. It's a knife to the upside. Again, volatility. You could trade some momentum to the upside. Just try to be capitalizing on the movement continuing. Tight stop losses on the way. Try to run a move like that. Not it for me unless you catch it really, really low and you already have a bias that we're going to move in that direction. For me, was looking short on this. Now we're above this level. Like I said, if we came back above this, that was a really interesting way to do it. But if we came back above this 930 open, that's our IB high. That would look like a move to the upside, but I'm going to stay patient on this. This is very volatile. Very, 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 very volatile. Very, very, very volatile. Let's go IB high. All right, that's our 930 open. Initial balance, high and low, is the first hour of trading, right? The high and the low that's put in between 9:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. Eastern. That is initial balance, high and low. Some solid statistics around it. I don't know that I'm gonna look to trade them too aggressively on a day like today, but this looks like we want to slice through this. We continue higher. I think we go and fill this gap. Again, I don't have a good trade on this. I don't have a way to structure risk. You can come stop loss right below here. Just anticipating that we're not going to retest this level and trade the breakout to the upside. I don't have a good way to structure it on this. That was a stop hunt. So many getting clobbered, I think. Yeah, we're fixing to find out, right? If it's a stop hunt, or like traditionally what we would call that, right, is just coming in the opposite direction before continuing in the direction that we're actually going to move in. If that's the case, then we would see a super aggressive move back down, right, and a continuation lower. That's possible. That's definitely possible, and that would indicate, hey, we're just going to stop everybody out like Zach that was getting short on this to the downside. So maybe, maybe it is a fake out this way or that way. Maybe. We really only know after the fact, right? We only know after all prices printed for the day and kind of what we actually saw. So to me, this doesn't yet look like just a run above this high to continue lower, unless we see volume come right back in aggressively to the downside. That looks like a lot of buying pressure, because it was a lot of buying pressure, more volume than the opening candle to the upside. We're dying off right here. I like to drop to a lower time frame and look at this stuff. You see volume a little bit clearer in between candles. I'm interested to see what happens from here. I really am. Maybe we get a way to structure risk to the upside, but I'm very flexible right now on bias. I don't have a strong one either way. I really wouldn't be looking short from this level, saying, hey, we just got stopped and this is going to be a run above and we're going to continue lower. Looking long looks like an easier play, obviously just directly with that volume and momentum. but there's no good way to structure risk. Sorry, I don't mean to make you guys dizzy switching between time frames. There's not a good way to structure risk, right? For me, you say, hey, look, we're breaking out to the upside, crazy momentum, get long. We're about to blast off. We're cracking IB high now. You don't want to be long anymore if we pull back here, right? Like that's not a good invalidation point for me. Like I think there's plenty of potential if we're going to continue higher that we pull back down to the middle of this area. That would be fine. So that means I don't want a stop loss there. So no good way to structure risk. No good way to structure risk. If you trade breakouts, breaking out to the upside is your move here. Right? That's what it looks like it's going to do, but I don't have a way to take on like, like a $1,200 worth of risk with 2 micros, looking for a huge move to the upside. But that looks like what's going to happen right here. It doesn't look like a fake out stop run, type of a movement. This looks like this was the failure to move lower. Fake out. Now we decided which way we're going to go. But we're fixing to find out, as they say down in the South. We crack these like these 400s. I think we're going to rip to the upside and close this gap. That's what this looks like to me. We get through 400s, I think we're ripping to the upside. Again, I like I talked about, I like it long above this level. We came back above it. I just don't have a way to structure risk on that. We got here in one 15-minute candle, actually one 5-minute candle. So I like it long, but I don't have a good way to structure risk. I have no way to place a stop in an area that makes me comfortable. But my bias, the indication based on this type of price action, right? Not a prediction, is that we are going to go higher. Well, technically a prediction, but that's the bias right now. We're going to slice through this level, crack up here, and fill this gap. That was the 400s traded out. Let's see what happens when we get there. Not slicing through. Not slicing through yet. Let's get the poll going. What do you guys think? Long or short? Let me know what you guys think in the chat. We going long? This is long America. We're going to push back up, close this gap. Or are we going to sell off? You think we're going to turn and burn to the downside? This is people getting stopped out up here. If I was answering the poll myself, first I'd say I don't know. But right here, right now, this looks like long America. That's aggressive back up to the upside. Never a good bet to bet against America. Yeah. Take that sell button off, right? That's it's a possible move for U.S. indices. I don't know. You guys are kind of indecisive here. Almost 50-50, 57-43. Today, maybe we get the day where both buyers and sellers get hit badly. I'd rather stay out. Yeah. Again, I talked about this in the Discord, right? If you're not in the free Discord, hop in there. But I sent a long message, right? Kind of the reasons we might see a lot of volatility off the open, like we're seeing right now, and how you might want to structure your risk, how you might want to try to handle that. For me personally, if there's something insane going on or something that I've never seen before, sometimes it makes sense just to sit out, to trade combines, to reduce risk. For the most part, I'm going to just structure my risk according to volatility, like I did today. Really wide if it has to be really wide. Trade consistently, but make sure I accept my risk. Make sure I know that at any point in these uncertain markets, you can be stopped out. But to look to trade consistently. Other guys are not going to take the first route. They're going to go the second route and say, this is the best time to trade. market's moving. That's when opportunities happen. That's when the money's made. I need to put more risk on. I don't think there's a wrong way to go about it, but I do think that the requirement from everybody should be, for yourself, is know what your risk is, know what you're putting on, know where that invalidation point's going, where you're looking to get out of the trade, and how much money you stand to lose if we get there. And accept that on the front end so you can trade, so you can put your system to work. That's it. Plenty of guys that said don't trade today. Plenty of people that said this is going to be the best time to trade. Get ready to load your accounts up. And I think they can both be right. It's just up to the individual. For me, for the most part, I'm going to trade through it, right? Holidays, I don't like to trade around. Maybe major events where like we know something wild's going on. Look to be a little bit more cautious on. But for the most part, price action and market structure is going to keep me out, right? Like right here, right now, I'm like, there's no way to structure risk. Well, it's because there's crazy volatility going on. We got insane markets, and that's my system, my approach, keeping me out of a crazy trade, right? So no wrong way to go about it, but whatever you do, control your risk, know where you're placing stops, know what your risk per trade is, know what your risk per day is, know what your limits are, set them, and don't exceed them. That's the key. Live to fight another day. If you don't have any chips, you can't bet. Remember that. Not to use the gambling reference. Yeah, 500 pre-market, so not touching the market. Yeah, man, do your thing. Do your thing. 67% long America, 33% saying sell-off incoming. We'll see, guys. We'll see. I took it short. If you jumped on late, stop out for $245 in one XFA. I said if it came back above that 930 high, which we did, we may continue the upside. I might look long. I still like this thing long. Gun to my head. If you had to hit the buy or sell button, I'd be hitting the buy button. But it's uncertain. And that was a lot of volatility, and we didn't just continue through it. Finding some sellers right up here, or at least kind of settling right around the 350s, right around IB high that we just put in and broke. But I don't have a good way to structure risk. I don't have a good way to get long. I don't have a way to place a level of invalidation on this big knife up on the 5-minute or 15-minute. Maybe we get some more structure that starts to form. And we can, find our way in. But I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to get another option here. I'm going to wait to see, though. I'm very interested today and this week. I think it's going to be a heck of a year to trade, especially the beginning part of it. But this is some gnarly volatility to work with. There we go, blasting the upside. I think we go close this gap. Let's see what we get. You guys say long America. Don't go switching now. I can see how many votes were on each of these. Don't flip flop. 67%. Say long, 33% say sell off. I would go long, like I said a couple times. If that gave me a way to structure risk, I'd be looking at it, but I don't have an invalidation point. 21401 looks like a nice level to hold above. Long, yeah. Hitting 420s right now, trading off the 420s, 425s, 430s. Yeah, this looks like we're going to close the gap. This is a move to erase, that overnight movement. And that potential of the downside is definitely still there, but not yet. We're going to have a big recovery, at least for right here, right now. Right, coming back to green on the markets. Let's see if we can find if that was actually something. Who can find what that potentially was news-wise? That's a good challenge for you guys. Let me look at TradingView real quick. Yeah, still showing red percent change-wise, obviously, but we're starting to erase it. There we go. You guys want to hear it? Stocks cut losses after Mexico says tariffs will be paused. Dow down just 200 points. U.S. stocks rapidly made ground back after Mexico's president said tariffs against the country would be paused. Stocks initially dropped have to read the whole CNBC BS, but there you go. That was 2 minutes ago. That article. That's the breaking news. But there you go. Headline markets, right? So that's the headline, and that's how it's affecting the market. Can we prepare for something like that fundamentally to be able to react to it? No. By the time we're reading it, we're already watching price react. But that's the stuff. That's the stuff that we're going to have to deal with. There's so much going on geopolitically in the news. There's natural disaster stuff. It's all over the map, right? You just have to be able to structure your risk. I think trade technically, trade off the chart, right? The same way that you do in back testing, use the tools that you use, but you better fully accept that stop loss. Now, again, on another day, in another dimension, that goes the opposite, right? And there's triple the tariffs. They're not paused or whatever it is, and the market dumps, 500 points instead of pumping. So you structure your trades, you put them on, you accept the risk, and that's that. And again, for the record, like, I'm not the fundamental guy. I don't think trying to understand the why behind every price movement is very, very helpful. I think it can kind of just slow you down and confuse you. If you don't back test with it, you probably shouldn't live trade with it. So that's my 2 cents, but I figured there was something there. That was a rapid change in direction. And a lot of volume that came in. So that seems like that would be the answer, the breaking news. Again, I don't try to worry too much on it. Like, if there's a gap down like that, some type of large movement. Let's be honest about the most I do. I check Forex Factory every day, maybe Financial Juice. I post those charts, right? I want to know about big data releases, news events that are going on. Then maybe I'll read. I'm subscribed to a handful of newsletters. Maybe I'll read a couple of newsletters. I'll have my phone read it to me. Pre-market, maybe listening to Wall Street Breakfast, or just what's going on at CNBC, like how the markets are moving, kind of give you some of that fundamental understanding of what's going on. The only real reason I like to do that is to know if there's potential, a really high potential, for something else to come out, something else to drop while I'm trading that I want to be cautious of. But am I able to use all of that somehow, some way, to predict how the market's going to perceive that and then what price is going to do? No, usually not. I've wasted a lot of time in the past trying to do that. For the most part, keep it technical. Be aware of what's going on around it. Can help you to decide on how you want to structure your risk, account for potential changes in volatility. But I think it's a loser's game to try to predict what's about to happen fundamentally and then how the market's going to react to it. That's just my 2 cents. There you go. Yeah, somebody got it as I was saying it. Looks like it's filling the gap. Yep. Placed my one trade for the day. Out of the market now. Mexico put pause on tariffs. There you go. That was Mexico president saying tariffs are going to be delayed for 1 month. Yep. She also said she's going to cooperate with the National Guard for better border protection. There you go. Market like that. So let's see what happens now, right? Like, price jumped on it, right? We got market participants funneling money in, saying that's a bullish bet. Does that continue, right? Does that really erase the down day that we were having here and the big gap down? Or is that going to be a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction that we see start to get wiped away, right? Do we see price come right back down and say, okay, the excitement's over. We're going to continue doing what we're doing. General move is going to be to the downside. For right here, right now, again, look bullish. Right above that, right back above that high was a real strong indication that we're going to move bullish. But that volume right there could tell you. There it is on the 1 minute. Big move. Big volume picked up right there. and then doubled down right there. That was heavy to the upside. But I'm gonna hang with you guys, see what else we get. See if more volatility comes in, see if another headline comes out and another country says, you know, we're going to do something different, and the market perceives it in a different way. But it's going to be wild, man. It's going to be wild to trade these markets. I think it can be difficult at certain times. Structure your risk. Structure your risk. Know where your stops are going. Stick to your guns. Don't start changing stuff up or doing anything too crazy right in the middle of your trading. But hang out with you guys and check it out. Just reading some of you guys chatting in Discord, checking out. If you're not in the free Discord, man, hop in the free Discord. Here, I'll post that again. 1,400 active members, like almost 1,500 at this point. Oh, nope, that didn't work. Hang on. Trade ideas. You guys are posting what you're looking at. As we wait to see if this movement actually continues to the upside or we start to sell off. But feel free to hop in, man. A deal taking along. Very nice. Very, very nice. Actually, I entered by accident. That's interesting. Brian was looking short on that on the move up. Yeah, I could see this. I could see this coming back in, right? Like, I could see this as well. Brian, I don't know if you're on here. That was really strong to the upside. Really strong. And again, was looking for this to get long if we broke above, not on that knee-jerk reaction. That's a quick move to the upside. I could see this thing selling right back off to the downside. Kind of just saying, okay, you know, excitement's over. This is not indeed going to be a huge bullish day. Not really at a level for me here. Kinda, right? Yeah, we are. I mean, this is ugly in between all this, but that's certainly something that's been tested multiple times, tops and bottoms, off of impulsive moves. I think much clearer way up here where that gap is, but this is certainly a level on NQ. You could see multiple times tested as support and resistance before big impulsive moves. You could call it a supplier demand zone, an area of interest, an order block, whatever you want. Area of interest. So I could see the short from up here. If you said, hey, I'm sticking to my guns on this one, you know, short bias, I don't even think we're going to close this gap. I think this is going to fake everybody out and piss everybody off that's targeting this, this to close, and we're just going to turn from here. Definitely a big extension to the upside. There's room to the downside without it being a continuation and a way to structure risk. But I don't know that I'm going to jump in front of that either. I think Brian posted, yeah. Wait and see mode. That's what I'm on here, guys. What's up? Got playing on my headphones while I load these trailers here at work. Nice, dude. Nice. Well, you hear me yap about the market. I'll just I'll be like the squawk box. I'll call out what's going on. MNQ trading 21,400s right now. Slight pullback after that big crack to the upside. Nah. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this one, guys. I don't have a trade off this. Again, very, very big move to the upside. I'm not convinced on this long, even if I was. Like I said, gun to my head long a bunch of times. Even if I was looking to get long for a continuation, no real clean way to structure risk. Looking at a lower time frame, you could certainly do it. Could certainly do it on a pullback and say, okay, that's my move to the upside. I don't know about that. Don't know about that at all. I think if we were going to continue to move up, a pullback is likely. I don't know where that pullback would be. Anywhere above session lows, that IB low would be in store. So I'm not looking long on it. It's getting to the point where I'd actually say, gun to my head, I would get short. I think actually that's the call that I would make coming up soon. If we can't get above this high that we put in right around the 450s, right? An MNQ we traded 452. This looks like a move back down and potentially a choppy day. Would not want to take a short below that gap. That would be a pretty bold play. So this is wait and see right now. Wait and see. But again, this is fun markets to trade because at any minute, in the blink of an eye, we print we print like a 250 15-minute candle. What is this on a 5-minute? Yeah, 214 point 5-minute candle. At any minute, a lot of volatility comes into the market. So I'm gonna hang with you guys for a while. See if we can't find something here. Again, I'm happy that I cut my risk down on that first one. It was just a little bit high, and instead of realizing a $640 loss, it worked out to a $245 loss, allowing myself a second trade, right? Follow-up trade, maybe in the same direction, maybe in the opposite direction, but just another trade on the day. Average session range high already hit 21,443. There you go. Very nice. And we really paused there. So interesting to watch that. Wait for VWAP for the long and risk IB low. Got you. Yeah. I could see the long on structure, right? Really nice pullback, and then a continuation. That would be solid if we pulled all the way back down. Friday also shot up, fell back like crazy. Yeah, man. Friday was tough, right? Definitely a tough session. I was no trade on the live. I'm glad I saved my losses for afterwards, but that was an ugly session for sure. Made my money last night at open, but today getting rinsed on another account. I feel you. This is a tough one. It's a tough one, right? That's difficult. That's difficult to work with. I would say for both styles, whether you're a range trader or a trend trader, from 9:30 to that movement all the way till now, difficult to work with. Have to wait and see what we get. Do we crack this? We crack this high and go and fill this gap? That's the question. Let's see, guys. Let's see. This looks like we want to try the high. Getting to a point, again, just kind of what I'm seeing objectively, how I'm interpreting this, how I'm reading this price action. I don't have a beautiful trade set up here. I don't have something, off of any of these levels. I think a pretty aggressive short play would be, looking at the 15-minute zoomed out, would be to potentially wait for this to fill. I mean, we're really pushing higher if that happens, and look for a short opportunity up here. Again, just coming off of a major level, that I think a lot of people are going to be looking at right here, right now, today, and try to catch some of that reaction off that level. Long up towards that looks like the play as we come and test this, right? This just kind of consolidation, then break to the upside. If you're on a low time frame, maybe this is kind of looking like a bull flag. It doesn't really. It's just a lot of even highs. You could say we're going to crack this to the upside, making the case for every direction. You could look short right here, right now, consolidating. These these buyers, these bulls could not take it higher. We're holding right here, kind of chopping around. You could say, hey, this is going to be a sweep above these highs, take everybody out that was getting short quick, and then start to sell off. I don't have clear direction on this, and I don't have a clear way to structure risk one way or the other, right? I would not want a stop loss up here. I think it's very likely that we potentially come up here. I don't see that as a good place to place a stop loss. If we got up here, chopped around a little bit, consolidated, maybe you say stop loss way up here. This is going to be a crazy bullish day, or at least going to get a reaction. Long, I don't have a place to put a stop loss anywhere on this. I don't know. You can make the case anywhere below a 5-minute candle, but like just right below a level of consolidation, maybe right below this level here, the 326s. But I don't think that that's a good spot to place a stop loss at all. I would be looking long if we pulled back down and then started to continue up. So that's my full kind of thought process to say, now I don't have a clear thesis one way or the other on this. And if I do, I don't have a good way to structure risk. So it's a sit on your hands and wait. Here we go. Sellers coming in below that low. Let's see if we turn from here without filling the gap. I think that's really a potential that we we don't go and trade out the 500s, and it's like very frustrating for everybody because there's just obvious stuff, right? Okay, like we push up, we're gonna go close the gap, and like what's the most frustrating, annoying thing that NQ could do? And like sometimes it's fun to just think about what that is, because sometimes that happens. Like, all right, where is everybody probably placing a stop? Where is everybody maybe, gonna get long or gonna get short? What is all the levels that people are watching? And then just expect it to not do that and try to capitalize on that not happening. It's funny to think that way, but sometimes that's what happens in the markets, and it's just a really, really frustrating day. But again, I'm going to sit patient on this. Again, that's my right here, right now. Thought processes for if some things happened. I could see a long play like this. I could see a short play like this. I'd like the long play better than the short play. I just am looking at this structure being nice and bullish above VWAP. Big push, on this, fundamental information that came out. I don't know that I want to be trying to jump in front of this short to the downside. You would probably want to be able to try it a couple times, like I say, risk getting your stop ran through. Long, after a retest of this level, this overnight high, really aggressively, I think could be an absolute play. We get a really quick pullback and then aggressive buying. That would be a really solid entry long. That's the first thing that I could see setting up. Again, clear invalidation level, like below IB low. It's not common that we come down and break that. And if we did, that's making a very frustrating day where we're to the upside, downside, downside. It just is not normal price action, and that's okay. You got to take our losses. But my setups would be short, like above the 550s, 600s. Just looking for a reaction up there. Pretty counter to the day, but with this higher time frame move. Long on a retest of near VWAP, below overnight low, into like the 250s area, maybe even lower, kind of like what we're getting now, for a continuation to the upside, but a clean way to structure risk down below IB low. There is a very strong stat that says we do not come back and break both sides of the initial balance. It's been happening, right? We've been seeing it happen, but it's a pretty solid stat for that. So this is a retest of IB high, way too high to take it for up here for me. There's no way to structure risk. Again, it'd have to come all the way back down. But that's my two ideas. First one, and more likely that I would actually take, I'd like to put risk on near VWAP, maybe near the 225s, as low as that level, if we weren't just slicing through. Idea number two, we continue higher, and I look for a reaction to the downside. On a long, it's definitely something I would look to hold for a push to the upside. I'd look to hang on to it, towards the end of the day. Short, I'd probably hold too, but I'd be cautious. I'd love to get in, with multiple contracts and be able to scale out. I don't know that I'd want to hold a short, like, all the way through the bottom. Just not as common, right? Be more of a reaction play. Didn't like IB high. Yuck, yeah, I see that. I see that. Be right back, guys. Back in action with you guys. How'd the chair do? Not bad. Kept us out of crazy markets. We're going to hang out and see what we get from here. So that's a retest of IB high and a push right back up. That looks a lot better for a long, right? If you were getting long up here, that was a problem. This looks like a long play for filling that gap for sure. You got a way to structure risk to the downside, entry on that candle, or maybe as we break the high for a continuation up. We come back down lower below this, we're really making the case, especially after sweeping a high, we're really making the case for the move back in. So we're starting to get something to trade off of here after that that nonsense, that headline market. Headline markets. ES. Get rid of drawings on here. ES looking real similar. Real similar today. Pushing the upside. I really don't pay too much attention to the correlated indices and markets. I take a look on TradingView. Take a look at Dow. Get rid of drawings. Zoom out. Yeah, these are all very, very similar today. Very similar. Crack at the open, selling off towards the lows, and then an immediate push back up on that info out of Mexico. S&P at the open again. Yeah, S&P did the same thing. Crack up at the open, didn't quite sweep the highs, just tested it, pulled back down, and pushed right back up. Jump back over to MNQ. I'm thinking this is going to be the fake out, the fake out long, right? Okay, right. Nice long wick to the downside, sweep below the low, look to get long, and that we just sell right back off. That looks like the piss everybody off move. Low volume on that move. That just happened. Yeah. We had some selling volume right here, right? If we look at the volume, you can see it on Bookmap pretty clear as well. But yeah, good point out. Great point out. Not a ton of volume. If anything, when sellers started to step in, we saw some selling volume. I was kind of absorbed, but we got volume dying out up here, right? If we're really volume-based traders, we're going to weight that as, hey, this move to the upside is just not being sustained. We're kind of just consolidating here. If we were creeping up on higher volume, that would really indicate that maybe we're going to die out. I don't look that closely at that volume chart right down on the bottom. I like to try to use it for some confirmation. I don't even like that word, but just as an additional, tool to pay attention to. Looking at Bookmap, we got stacks above them. Yeah, we got stacks at 50. Excuse me, at 500. 21,500. We got 100 on the book there. Down below, way back down at 350s, we got some buy orders. Some at the 60s and the 50s. Not really a setup yet. Not really a setup yet. This is looking like a failed move higher. This is looking like what I was saying right before I stepped away for a minute, that maybe we come and piss everybody off, right? What would be the most obvious thing to not happen, right? That we don't fill this. We get close, but we don't come up and fill this. Let me look at what this looks like on NQ. Sometimes the charts are a little bit different, right? MNQ up here, yeah, we'd have to get up into the 530s. Interesting. Gonna give this some time, right? Because I think we got a lot of opportunity, got a lot of movement. That was pretty gnarly. That was pretty gnarly near the open here. But coming up on 11 o'clock. Oh, yeah, we're past 11 o'clock. Excuse me. 11:15 almost. keep track of time here. I could see this as a move back down. Been hanging out here so dang long. Retest of IB high. Everything so far, structure wise, looking back on this would indicate we're going to continue moving up, right? Nice long wicks to the downside on the 5-minute and the 15-minute. Not happening just yet. I'm, like I talked about, would look long or short. A short after a push higher and then some hesitation and a potential for a move lower. But this to me feels like a spot to look short. That's my gut talking to me though. Got a way to structure risk. If you were going to go for a really large movement lower, maybe you want to let that gap fill, and go like really, really wide. But there's like a lot of room to the downside, right? Like a lot of room just back down to overnight high. If you think the actual move is going to be to the downside and this is just going to be a crazy push higher before a move lower, you got a boatload of room to the downside. But you are counter to this. If you're looking short up here, you are counter to the session, right? Looking at the trend in the 15-minute, higher highs, higher lows getting put in. But this feels weak. I don't know about a stop right above here. That would be trade number one. I just don't think we drift higher today, man. Don't think we drift higher. But this is not a super clear setup for me. So stay patient, see what starts to happen from here. Again, we come back down through these lows. If you wanted it short, now's the time. Right, now's the time from up here. You come back down through these lows. Now you're really erasing a lot of the movement. You're waiting for a 100-point move to happen. If this was at the gap filling and we were doing this, way up at the 500s, I'm short for sure. This is just not. It's just not the spot on the chart that's giving me a way to structure risk. Here's your really aggressive short play. Stops just below, just above. But that's pretty dang aggressive as well. But again, man, appreciate you guys hopping on here, hanging out. I'm not going anywhere just yet. I'm tempted short, counter to the session move based on this hesitation. I don't know that we see follow through on this like, info out of Mexico that's really going to just erase that move from overnight. Coming up to try the highs again. Again, orders at 500, so we got a chance to go and try this, but I don't know that we do. I really don't know that we do. And hanging tight on this, guys. Hanging tight. I'm tempted short on this. I really am. It's really aggressive, and it's a setup, right? It's a setup. Finding resistance, failing to move higher after a push lower. It's a higher time in line with higher time frame trend. My higher time frame thesis, the same short play that I took, earlier this morning. Same reasons behind it. This gap being here, orders at 500, it's keeping me out. Again, this pullback and continuation up looks okay, but it's not like we just blasted higher on this candle just yet, right? We're kind of just still chopping, consolidating, failing to get above this. I could see a crack above and then a continuation lower. I could see a turn to the downside from here. I'm tempted to run this with a wide stop loss short before I hop off with you guys, but I think I'm just going to stay patient. I'm going to wait to see what happens. If we pop up even further to the 500s, potential short from an even farther spot up there. Again, aggressively counter to the day, but a little bit more in line with the higher time frame sell-off at the open. There we go. There's a pop through the 60s. Let's see. Orders at 485, 490, and 21,500. Right? So pretty close above price. Not a whole lot like that right below price. Not a whole lot at that 530 area. We got some at 550. I don't know that we get follow through from up here. I think we might not, man. I think this might be the crazy not move back up to the 550s and struggle to get through this area. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna take it though. I think I'm gonna hang. Yeah. Watch Bookmap. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna hang on this one. I don't have a setup. It could go either way. Not super duper clear. It's not that I don't have a setup. I'm just gonna use my discretion to hang tight on this. I'd like to see something maybe later into the afternoon. If gun to my head, I'm short on this. For a move back down, we're just not blasting to the upside. We're kind of failing above highs here. Absolutely a setup. I may look to take it, after hopping off the live, but. That's what I would be considering. Really wouldn't want to have a stop loss, super tight on this thing, although you could. If that doesn't happen, obviously we're going up to fill the gap. We're going to continue this move to the upside, have a really nice strong session move to the upside. We're not going to, reverse back down. But I think I'm just going to hang out there, call it there, and just let the market do whatever it's going to do. And on that note, guys, I appreciate you being here with me. Thanks for hopping on the stream. I'm live every day this week, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. If any changes, anything happens, you'll know about it in Discord. Hit like, hit subscribe if you found this valuable. You could subscribe if you weren't able to chat for next time. Yeah, talk to you guys soon. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. Nothing you see or hear me say or do here is a recommendation or suggestion to do anything. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. Talk to you guys soon. Trade well, structure your risk. Later, guys.